So one of the biggest issues that you face when dealing with animals is how to feed them. And if you don't plan this well, you're going to suffer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how we're planning for feeds, how we've arranged for feeds for the few animals we have, and how we're planning for the expansion as they multiply. Stay tuned, because in this video I'm also going to be sharing with you some of the costs that you can incur while planting, buying seeds of grasses and the likes. So stay tuned. Please feel free to like the video and subscribe to this channel before the end. Cheers. So one of the things that you might know most about goats is that they love shrubs, they love to eat from a high vantage point, and also they can eat most anything. Unlike cattle, which eat from the ground, and sheep, goats can actually go on their hind legs and eat from above, which is cool, and it works well for those that are rearing 3, 4, 10 goats in the city. You can just have your goats there and they move themselves around and they eat whatever they eat, because they can consume right about anything. If you have banana peelings, they can eat that. They can eat the leaves of banana plants. They can eat almost anything you can find anywhere. Unfortunately, not everything is nutritious. So what we did before we started the project, well, midway through starting the project, because we had been offered a vast piece of land to use, so we thought, okay, they can eat everything that's on the land. And that was not true. They don't eat just about everything. So what we had to do was we had to come up with ways of planting feeds that they can actually consume both in the field and in their paddocks, that are nutritious, healthy, and can sustain them for a long period of time. Now, if you're aware of, or you're familiar with grasses that grow in swampy areas, you'll notice this reed. I'm about to show you a reed that most animals don't consume, and we were shocked to find that the goats actually like it. And here it is. So it's growing wild here, because just yonder you've got a small water body, a small stream where those cows are. Let me zoom in for you. That's our neighbor's cattle. So we've got a small water body running through this area. So these grow wild here. One of our plans was to remove all of them and plant grasses, and then one day we just saw them eating. So if you look at this little stem, that's a goat that was chewing that. You can see they chew the tops off of this grass. It's a very fibrous grass, but they eat it. So we, instead of removing it all, we just removed the bulk of it, and we left some of it lying around, because it's a hardy grass. It survives through anything. During the rainy season, during the dry season, it's always there. So that's what we did. We also planted maize. If you can see maize over there, that place was full of these reeds. We dug it up and we planted some maize for their consumption as well. This maize is supposed to be used in the making of silage, and so we are letting it grow a bit so that we can have a lot of stem. There's also sweet potato. Of course, we will eat the sweet potatoes, but the leaves are for the goats to consume. Now, I'll warn you, if you're herding animals into an area where you have set aside for your own feeds, or near other people's gardens, you're setting yourself up for a lot of pain, because they will go into the garden and start consuming whatever it is. They don't need your permission. So if you don't have a good enough herdsman, try and avoid areas with gardens. So these sweet potatoes are also, they love the sweet potato leaves. So you can see sweet potatoes and some maize. for their consumption. Other grasses that we planted are chikuyu grass, which does well in water bodies. So it's important to plant grasses that suit your environment, and if you're near a water body, you need grasses that will survive very well there. We tried planting Chloris guyana near the chikuyu. It was not successful. The Chloris guyana we have is best in drier areas, so we planted a lot of Chloris guyana somewhere else where it's dry, because with Chloris we cut it down, we bring it to the paddock, and then we make hay from there, which we tie up. Now starting out, we don't have a box to make a nice bale of hay, so we just tie it up. You should do things that are also within your budget, because the buying of the seeds for those grasses is not cheap. You're looking at around 40,000 a bag for seeds, and they won't all germinate. So I think we've spent, we bought at one point about 4 bags or 5 bags, and that on those 4 or 5 bags nothing germinated. So you have to just be careful when selecting your seeds. Pick the mature-ish ones, make sure they're dry, and then plant those. So next thing that we planted was elephant grass. You can't go bad with elephant grass. So we planted some elephant grass for the goats, and that's been doing well. They eat it fresh from the stem, or you can harvest the stem when it gets too big and use that with your sugar cane to make silage. So that works out well. Now other things that they eat are these organic, natural occurring plants that you see around me. They eat all of this. I was shocked to find out that they even enjoy this thorny bush. Now I don't know what that bush is called, but it's the one that pierces through jeans if you're wearing jeans in the garden. Let me see if I can find a bush nearby for you to see. No. I'll take a photo and I'll post a photo of that bush at the end of the video, so just stay tuned. They eat it, they consume it in plentiful. I thought the thorns would deter them, but nope, they're in there and they're consuming it like crazy. So they eat a lot of things that are naturally occurring, but just in case, you have to prepare yourself. If you're in an area that is prone to dry season, to drought, you need to make sure you've got your hay and your silage prepared, just in case you go through a bad period where there's no feeds. You also have to make sure that if you're in a waterlogged area and it's raining, the rainy season, like us, you can feed the animals from inside their pens where it's dry, from inside the play area. So that also helps to prevent diseases, which we will talk about eventually, because it's a very important part of rearing animals. So hopefully all of the things we are planting and we've planted can sustain us for the duration that we have this space for, and we can expand later. But yeah, this is what we've done so far. This is what they are doing. They're enjoying their feeds. They're enjoying their time out, eating the shrubbery. We've cut some grass for some maize, the smaller maize that's stunted because of the water in the area, and they're chewing it like crazy. See this greedy guy. And as you see them eat, just know that this is all, it's all muscle being made. The healthier they are, the more they produce, the more milk they produce. You need to give them feeds that will help them to grow, feeds that will help them to produce more milk, because most, I believe, about 95 or 90% of our animals out in the field are female. We only have 3 males out here. 2 are large. One is a large male and 2 are the 2 that graduated. If you remember the video we posted about tagging, so I'll link you to that video in a moment. So I hope this video was useful. If you need more information, feel free to comment. If you have something to share, something I missed, feel free to comment. And thank you for joining me on our journey as we grow our project and as we aim to multiply. Cheers.